episode of Entrepreneur Talk. Woohoo! Episode 3. I am so happy to be here with you again. If you don't know me, my name is Tracy Palmer. I am a transformational life and business coach. I'm also an author. I'm also a podcaster, and I am just so excited to be with you today. Today, what I want, or this evening, I always say today, but y'all know what I mean. This evening, what I want to speak with you about will be um, speaker or client contracts. Speaker or client contracts. That's a subject that I have found that not a lot of people actually deal with, but it is a subject that is super, super, super important because without these things, you just will not, you, how can I put it? When you don't have those things in place, you don't have a clear path or a clear understanding between you and whoever the host is or whoever the client is. A lot of us are so good at doing verbal agreements, and verbal agreements, I'm not knocking them and saying that verbal agreements are like all bad, but they can be all bad. So, anyway, tonight we're going to talk about that. So again, if you're just joining on, please share, please put in the comments that you're here. And if you have any questions, or excuse me, if you have anything to say, go ahead and put it in there and I will address it at the end or somewhere maybe midway through. But anyway, let me get started. So we're going to talk about, like I said, speaker and client contracts. Speaker and client contracts. So forgive me if I'm fidgeting or whatever. I don't use these headsets that often, but I'm trying to be extra professional looking today. So I wanted to do that. So let's see here. The first group I want to talk to will be speakers. Okay. I want to talk to my speakers first. Speakers, that means if you are a teacher, you can be a minister, you can be a preacher. I don't care what you are. If you open your mouth and you share information, I'm talking to you. Okay. You are a speaker. Okay. Motivational, inspirational. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you are agreeing to be on someone's platform. You are agreeing to be in someone's church, venue, whatever it is, and you're going to present information. So, what do I suggest, and what is my strong suggestion when it comes to when someone requests for you to speak? Well, so many times when somebody says, "Hey, I would love for you to be a speaker at my event," the first thing we do is we just, we'll say, "Oh, okay, yeah, great." Or let me check my calendar. "Oh, yeah, I'll get back to you." And then we'll say, "Hey, I see that I am free that day." And it's like, okay, that's cool and all. But then what we find out that happens is after you accept the engagement or you accept the date, there's so much back and forth, back and forth, back and forth that has to go on to get the details and to get an understanding, to get knowledge and all that. So what I strongly suggest that every speaker does, it's almost like it's a must. If you are a speaker, if you are an author and you're going to speak, anybody that actually is going to speak, I strongly, highly recommend you have what's called a speaker engagement form or speaker inquiry form or whatever you want to call it. Just know it's a form that anybody that wants you to speak, they must fill it out first before you will even step into before let me even say this, before you will even 100% agree to accept the engagement. Okay, so hopefully y'all are with me on that. So before you even say, you can say, "Yes, let me check my day," or even if you don't say that, just say, "Fill out the form, fill out the form, fill out the form." And the way that I suggest that you do your form is either, if you have a website, definitely have a link under like your book me or speaker inquiry or whatever, something that's clear on your website to let people know this is where I go if I want to request um you, this individual, to speak. Or if you don't have a website, have a link for them to fill out. Again, why is this so important? Well, it eliminates or it cuts down the back and forth. Within the speaker inquiry form or speaker engagement form, so much information is covered right there, or so much information should be covered right there. And what I'm going to do is give you some tips on exactly what should be covered in that form. Okay. So, like I said, send them a link. I use JotForm. So, and it's free, and they give you up to 5 different types of forms that you can fill out under an email account. I think that if you have multiple emails, that means you can have multiple, 5 per email, because I have several email accounts and I see that I have the ability to have several forms. So if you're a person that has forms for different reasons, speaker, or you may have a form, to request, services or whatever it is, just giving you that tip. That Jot form is really great. It's free. I think they allow you up to like 100 submissions a month for free or whatnot. Now, if you get to a place where you need more volume or whatnot, they do have payment plan, monthly payment plans or whatnot. So check them out. And it's a very simple, really easy form to do, to put together as far as your questions and things like that. Telling you it's really simple. And who can be free, So when someone asks you to speak, like I said, send them to a speaker form, okay? And let me go ahead and cover some key components in your inquiry form or engagement form. These are some key components that I suggest. And if anyone has ever asked me to speak, you already know what's fully in those forms. So there's no, mystery there. You already know everything that is included, because I try to be very, very detailed. So number one, event info. You must know everything you about the event. You got to know location if they have one, if it's going to be virtual or if it's going to be at a location. Now in your form, because we're in a different time kind of space right now. Now my form doesn't have this because, generally I've always spoken, online, not on, I'm sorry, in a venue, and we didn't have the issue with, social distancing and masks. So now we're in a different season. So I would suggest that you put something in there to find out, does the venue that the person is going to host the event at, is it going to have enough space for everyone to social distance, and will masks be available, and if there's like sanitation and different things like that. You just want to make sure that you are protected, and that the person has thought about everyone's safety. So you may want to put that in there. That is something you can simply email out if you don't put it in your form. That's not too hard to communicate back and forth, but that is something to think about. Event info. So like basically everything that you need to know concerning the event, the dates, of course, time, locations, and things like that. Number two, you must know the topic or theme. That's something you need to know right off the bat, because you may find out that what they're wanting, you may not be the best person for it. They may have seen you do something, or they may have heard you speak, and they may have, or somebody may have recommended you. And so they're like, oh, yeah, let me call them and ask them if they would be willing to be a part of my event. So then when they send you what their topic is or whatever, then you can kind of evaluate and see if that is a topic that you feel comfortable speaking. Don't ever accept anything that you're not comfortable doing, because you don't want to go in and present at an event and you are not in a position to fully give the people what they need. They came to be empowered. They came to be inspired. They came to get something. And if you don't feel like you're the right person for that, don't be afraid to, let the host know that, listen, I see your topic. And then also ask, especially if it's an event for believe a church Christians, I'm sorry, or if it's an event that maybe has like a theme or a scripture. You might have a title, title, your theme, colors. There may be a scripture, and then you want to find out the mind of the host. Kind of figure out, well, what is in your mind when you say you want me to speak on this. So that's very important. That's very important to do. Now, let me go ahead and put this disclaimer in. Sometimes we don't think that that is something that's very important to do, even when we are speakers or ministers or preachers or teachers. We're just so quick to just go and accept an engagement and and say, yeah, I'll preach at your church, doc. I'll minister, whatever, whatever. I think that anybody that gets up and speaks, we should all do this. That's just my opinion. That should be the protocol across the board if you're going to ever speak. Um, that's just me. That's just the coach side of me that says let's do things in the most excellent way. I'm about doing things in the most excellent way. So that's very important. Now, if you are a speaker, if you're one that you want to be known as a speaker, have topics because somebody might want you to speak and they may not necessarily have a theme or a topic or a scripture or whatever for you to come from, but they know that whatever it was about you, they really want you to empower their group. Then you should have a list of topics that you are comfortable speaking from. If you're one that do workshops or seminars, list those things. Make sure that they know that you can do a workshop on budgeting or credit um, credit repair or whatever it is, or relationships or whatever. Or if you have a book, put out there that you have topics or you can speak from the if you're an author, say that I can speak from these things as well. So that kind of helps them to say, oh, okay, yeah, I would love to hear you speak to my group of people on this or that. So have a list of topics, but of course, always give an option for them to say whatever it is that that they believe that they want you to share. Okay. Number three, you want to also know the nature of the event. The nature of the event, that is, if it's a conference style event, if it's a church service, if it's a workshop, if it's a seminar. You want to know in advance what that is. You want to know, you want to be clear. What am I walking into? You want to be clear. You don't want to go in surprised. You don't want to be unaware and think that you're going to do one thing and it's something else. So that's something very important to find out in advance. Number four, you want to know how long you're supposed to speak. Hello. You want to know how long you're expected to speak. This is very important. Come on, y'all. Because people call you in, and sometimes it's just understood that you're going to know to respect a certain amount of time. Well, let's cut all that out. I just need to know up front, how much space are you wanting to give me to present? And then also find out, am I the only presenter? Because if there's more than one presenter, I definitely want to respect the time. I don't want to be up there. If you got 10 speakers or five speakers, I don't want to be up there half an hour, 45 minutes, unless you have this like super long, conference or super long event going on where it's going to be, multiple hours and you've allotted that time, like 30, 40 minutes per speaker. But I want to be well aware of that. Am I sharing the platform with others, as well? So that's another thing that I suggest that you find out. So definitely your presentation time. Audience size, that's number five. You want to know audience size and if this is a paid event or if it's a free event. You want to know that. That's something that's very important. Audience size is especially important when it comes to workshops and seminars because you will be providing materials. If you more than likely you are going to provide some form of materials for them to work through in the workshop or in the seminar. So you definitely need to know. But I think it's also important to know the expected attendance when you're going to just speak in general. So I always think that you should ask that as well. And if there is an admission fee, so you will be aware of if these are people that are coming that are paid, or if this is a free event. Number six, you want to know what type of recording devices that they have. You want to know what kind of things like that. You want to be well aware of any recording devices, if they're going to record, if they're going to Also have Wi-Fi so that if you have any type of presentations that you want to do, like if you have a PowerPoint or if you need Wi-Fi for any reason, you want to know that in advance. You don't want to go in assuming that they have this. But again, you want to know if they're going to record. You want to know if they're going to do audio or visual, video, because you also want to know, do you have this is key, unrestricted use to whatever they record. So if they do record, are they willing to give you unrestricted access or unrestricted use of that material? Can you have the CD? Can you have the DVD or whatever, the video? Can you have access so that you can also reuse it on your own platform? So that's something that you need to know. That doesn't mean it's a make or break, but you just want to know. And then if they are going to record but they don't want to give it to you, find out if they have a problem with you bringing your own people. If you have somebody, if they are don't mind you bringing your own people and just simply only recording you, so that you can use it on your own platform. Number 7, will there be space for you to sell your own products or books or whatever it is that you may sell? That's something important, because that may be a fee negotiation right there. Because if you're giving me the space to also sell my product, I may negotiate my fee a bit, or maybe vice versa. Just depends. So you want to know that, can I sell my own stuff? At your event, or is that going to be an issue? So we want to clarify that before you accept the event. Number 8, you want to be clear on your fee. Point blank. I don't think we need to play games with people. I don't think we need to sugarcoat it. I don't think we need to beat around the bush. I don't think we need to do any of that. We need to be 100% clear with people what our fee is, what we're expecting, and then give them room to negotiate. If they're, because let's face it, we don't want to always be so, stuck in our own fee that we can't, help those that really, really, really can't afford. So, but be clear, just be clear to say, hey, this is what I normally ask for when I do this type of thing. Does this work for you? And then if they're asking you to come from, go out of town from, somewhere that's a quite a bit of a distance from where you live, let them know that there may be a travel expense involved as well. So you want to know that stuff in advance before you accept any engagements. And then number 9, you want to know from them, how are they going to promote the event? How are they going to promote the event? That is very, very, very important information to find out, because if they're going to use your image, you want it to be very clear that if you're using my image, that you are getting, that I am approving any material that goes out. I want to approve the flyers and anything that you put out, because I want to make sure that my image is attached with something that's, that I'm in agreement with. So just kind of finding out what platforms they're going to use, because that also let you know, are they really going to be able to draw in the attendance that's necessary for the event to be as successful as they're hoping for. So that's that concerning the speaker inquiry form. Then that's the first step. So once you've gotten that information back as a speaker, once all that has come back into you and you say, you know what, I'm good, date's clear, everything looks good, I'm liking, okay, we've agreed upon fees and all that stuff, then boom, it's time for you as a speaker to now draw up the contract. So this is number 2, drawing up the speaker contract. Now for me, I like to actually I like to have two types of contracts. That's me. I mean, to each his own, but a contract's important. You need to have a contract. I developed two types, and one is a keynote speaker contract, and the other one is more of a seminar workshop contract. For me, I found out that I have slightly different needs, or there's slightly different language that's involved when with just being a keynote speaker versus actually going in and providing, and doing a seminar or workshop. So let me talk a little bit about the differences between the keynote speaker contract and the seminar or workshop contract. Okay. I hope everyone is getting this and it's very informative. And like I said, if you're on and you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type them in the comment section and I will do my best to answer any questions as soon as I've gone through the presentation. So again, the speaker agreement, the keynote speaker, very important information that you must have is, of course, the agreement between the names of the individuals or the host. That's, of course, number one between yourself and the host. Okay. You got to know the location. So you got to put that information in: location, the date and time, and the length of presentation. You want to have all that in your contract. You also want to be very clear on oh, you also can put if they have an estimate amount of attendees, that they are expecting to come in. Now, let me say this contract can go both ways when it comes to you as a speaker or you as an event planner. And on my next session or in the next month, when I do the next second Monday, I'm going to talk about event planning. So I'm going to help those who need help with event planning. Okay. So I'm going to do something concerning event planning in the month of December. So this is like, I'm like laying the foundation down now, but event planning, that's a whole nother thing. And I would say that I've been very successful in this. So that's a session you don't want to miss. But you definitely, what I was saying about this is you may be the host and have to draw up the speaker or the keynote speaker contract. I had to do that when bringing in someone. I had to draw up the term based on some information they gave me. Then I, mixed it with some things, some agreements that on my part, and then drawing up the contract. So it's good to have. But again, going back to, you want to be clear on when you make the contract on the payment and how the payment is going to happen. Meaning, am I going to get paid the day of? Am I going to get a 50% deposit at a certain time or upon signing the contract? Am I going to get, a certain amount when I walk through the door and then a certain amount at the end, whatever you guys are comfortable with, whatever you've agreed upon, that's exactly what you need to put in the contract. You also need to put in there about if the speaker, if you are allowed to have a vendor table. You don't want to leave anything out. That's why it was important to have that inquiry form, because you answer all those questions. And then when you draft the contract, you can put all that information right in the contract. So it's like easily transferable. You also want to be very specific about travel in the contract. Again, you want to, whatever travel arrangements you want to make, be very specific about that. Take a sip of water. You want to be very specific about any travel arrangements. You also want to be specific in the contract about advertising and recording. And with that, you want to put in certain language that grants permission or let me see, that grants permission from the host. If Because a lot of times with events, they have, photographers or videographers that are, recording their event. So you want to make sure that's in there, that you as a speaker are giving them permission to put you on there, to video you, to take photos of you. Because honestly, if that's not in there and I, the speaker, did not agree to that, I can possibly sue you, bring up a lawsuit to say you didn't get my permission to use my image at this event. So that's something that you want to be very clear. So that kind of bleeds over into you as a host, but at the same time, you as a speaker, make sure you're clear on that as well. That if you have an issue with, make sure that's said right off the bat. If you have an issue with you being photoed or whatever, most of the time you don't. I mean, because you're at an event and publicity, blah, blah, blah. So, but that's important to put in there. We don't want to look at it and say, oh, it's not, yeah, no. because people get sued, all kind of stuff goes down. And what I'm doing is I am trying to make sure that you are successful. All right, we're going to move right along here. Um, Also, you want to make sure you put in the contract anything about refunds, cancellation policies. If the speaker needs to find a replacement because things happen, illness happens, unexpected events happen. So where the speaker cannot fulfill the contract, you need to be able to put in the contract. Can the date be renegotiated? Can we do something on a different day? If the deposit is non-refundable, of course, that's again on the host side, but that needs to be in the speaker contract. That needs to be agreed upon. If it's non-refundable deposit, so that means that that speaker, even if they don't do this event, they're going to fulfill it at another event. So or they need to find a replacement, or something like that. So that's very important in the speaker agreement. So that was just dealing with a keynote speaker. Now I want to talk about hello, those are coming in. Like I said, if you got any comments or questions, or just let me know that you're with us. Thank you for joining. Now I'm going to talk about, I talked about the keynote. Now I'm going to talk about the seminar or workshop contract. Okay. Now, like I said, if you want to use a keynote one as the same type of contract that you use for the seminar workshop one, that's fine. I mean, no big deal. But for me, I think that it's a little bit different language, meaning you're going to get more in detail concerning the services you're going to provide in the workshop, meaning like the deep, more the, I don't want to say services, the detail of your material. Now you can either get detail, you can detail your material within the contract, or you can have you can agree, you can put an agreement in the contract that says you will outline, send the host an outline of the material that you're going to present at their event. So that's very important because they're going to want to know, not just, okay, so like I did like a budget seminar. They're going to want to know, in your budget seminar, what are you going to cover, what are you going to talk about? Is this a, in some events, am I doing just a 1 day seminar? And how long is my presentation? Or, and that goes back to the speaker inquiry form or the speaker engagement form. On a speaker engagement form, if you're one that that you do stuff like seminars like that, I just use budgeting or credit repair, credit management or whatever. I use that one as an example. If you do stuff like that, you should have a set fee and a set amount of time that that it takes for you to fully present this material, and then you can let them decide and go back and forth on what, if they want to get the full package from you, or if they want to do more of a la carte and want to kind of pick and choose like what topics that you cover. And you should be able to have all that listed. And I do that for anybody that brings me in to do any speaking over any type of finance or any business or anything like that. I have a list of what I'm going to talk about within my presentation, so that you can decide that sorry about that, so that you can decide if you want the full thing that may be a couple of hours long, or if you just want me to just concentrate on one or two parts. So you definitely want to um have that. That's the difference. What I would say is the difference, that you would put more of the detail, either the details in the contract, or you would mention in the contract that you will provide them an outline. Okay. So I know I'm getting very technical with this stuff, but this is for you to be successful. That's why it's called entrepreneur talk. It's stuff that we have to deal with as entrepreneurs, stuff that's going to make us more successful. May not be all the glitzy glamour fun stuff, but it's the stuff that we got to deal with. These are the reasons why we don't stay successful, we don't stay in business, we don't go to the next level, because we don't, when we're smaller or when we're at a level where we feel like, I'm not at that big level yet. No, you need to plan and prepare yourself now this way for when you do get bigger, when you're getting 10 to 20 engagements, or people reaching out to you, 10 20 people reaching out to you a month, or whatever, to get your service. You want to already be prepared. So that's what this is all about: preparing you, preparing you, preparing you. Um, and then and then also in this contract, you may choose not to allow recording. because of the information that's presented. Because let's think about it. If you are coming in and you're teaching on budgeting, or you're teaching on credit management or business development or anything like that, or you're teaching on branding, or you're teaching on whatever it is you're teaching on, maybe you're teaching some kind of lifestyle, design thing, whatever your expertise is, you may not want somebody, because if they came in and they paid, or if the organization pay for you to come in and speak, but then they're allowing themselves to record your information for free, and then they use it and then they just spread it out wherever, then it's like, then what other organizations that they're connected to are going to want to bring you in, because they've just gotten it for free. So you may want to say, hey, um, please, no recording of these sessions. Okay. Or now, if you're part of an event and you're going to be breaking off into an individual workshop or session, you may also ask that those that are in the room, please, no recording. Respect my business, respect what I do, and please don't record. So, but that needs to be in the contract. And finally, we're going to talk about the last thing, which is client contracts. Now, this is away from speakers. This is more of a service providers. If you're a person that provides a service, as in if you provide accounting services or consulting services, or you provide any type of design services, anything that's a service, you need to have a contract with the person that you are providing the services for. No more verbal stuff. You need to have a contract. Now, here's where when I did the promo video about this session tonight, when I talked about musicians and singers. Now, this is where I may get in trouble. I might not be liked after this because I'm exposing something that I've seen too many times happen. Too many times I've seen where musicians and singers are treated like an independent contractor, but they're, let me flip that. They are treated like a W 2 employee, but they are getting paid as an independent contractor. And what that means, you might say, okay, so what's the problem with that? Well, there's a big problem with that. There's a big tax law problem with that. And I don't no longer do taxes at that level anymore, but I had prepared plenty of taxes of those who have been musicians and singers, especially through church. And that's a whole nother thing right there. So I'm not even going to get too much into that, because we got to be educated all the way around when we're a business. So that's why I help businesses to get their stuff together. So then when they do business with other businesses, everybody's doing things the right way, ethically. Everybody's understanding the tax laws. Everybody's understanding the business laws and things and how this thing goes. But anyway, so when it comes to you being an independent contractor, let me go ahead and, in my own words, define what an independent contractor is. An independent contractor means that you are supposed to provide the contract with the terms. As an independent contractor, the organization that is bringing you in does not determine how and when you do the work. Neither do they determine the amount you get paid. Uh-oh, she dropped the mic. Listen, if you're going to pay me as an independent contractor, you are going to then allow me the space to act as such. If I'm an independent contractor, that means that I, number one, I set the fees. I determine the time. I determine when and where it happens. You do not get to tell me that. A W 2 employee, when I'm a W 2 employee, then you get to tell me that, because I'm coming up under your organization, up under your rules. I'm coming up under your structure. So, therefore, if you say that from 8 to 5. You got to be here at 8 and you can't leave till 5. And here's all the equipment, here's all the paper, here's all this, here's that, this and this. Then at that point, I am a W-2 employee. I'm not an independent contractor because you're telling me that I got to be there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I got to be in this location, or I got to, or if I'm working from home, because most people are virtual, that you're telling me that I got to complete the task or whatever. I got a quota to meet that day, or you're my boss saying, here, these are the things you need to get done today, or here's the things you got to get done this week, and here, or here's what you get, that's what a W-2 employee, that's what they are. That's what they do. When you're an independent contractor, that means that first of all, you are filling out a I think it's a W-9. And I don't know why I always do that brain freeze thing. W-4 is for the W-2 employees. So you're filling out the that nine I-9 or W-9, one or two. I don't know why I always mix that up. I shouldn't be by now. But you're filling out that type of a form because you're just putting in like your information and your social security number or your business ID number. And that's all the information you're providing because as an independent contractor, you're going to be responsible for your own taxes. And that's where churches and ministries are getting people in trouble. They are making people come in and only filling that out so that they are providing them with just the form, a 1099 at the end of the year, instead of providing them with the W-2 at the end of the year. So they're treating them like they are independent contractor, but instead they really, when they bring you in, they're saying, I want you here at this time. I want you to rehearse at this time. I want you to do these type of songs, or I want you to do this kind of stuff. They're telling you that's because whenever I've consulted clients, I will say, well, how much independence do you have? Did you get to tell them how much you're going to get paid? Did you get to make the schedule on the rehearsal times and dates? Did you get to say what days you're going to come in and sing? Did you bring your own equipment, bring your own keyboard, your own drum set? Did so all those things play into part as to if I come in, if I'm being treated as a W-2 employee, or if I'm getting treated as an independent contractor, or one that's going to get a 1099 at the end of the year. The tax burden falls on you. When they do that, they're avoiding the tax burden. So, yeah, that's something I'm going to leave alone right there. But I wanted to bring that up because when someone brings you in and they want to pay you like that, you have to make it clear that in order for you to do that, you have to give me all of the space and all of the decision making. I get to tell basically, even if they say we have a business, here's are the hours that we're open, you still can decide that I'm okay, these are the hours you're open. Well, I'll come in around for a couple of hours a day around noonish, and you're still independent contractor. And let's say that they have a computer system that they want you to work on because their stuff is embedded in there. Maybe they don't have it on the cloud, or they don't have, access where you can remotely access it from wherever. Then that's okay too. But as long as there's an understood that you're coming in, you're determining how you do your work. You're determining when you do your work. You can come and go as you please. You're not bound by no time and things like that. Then you are cleared to be an independent contractor. But anytime the organization, or you have a supervisor or a boss, and they're trying to determine how you do your work, when you do your work, and things like that, no, you're not an independent contractor at that point, and you need to be paid as a like a W-2. That means they need to take taxes out, and then they need to bear the tax burden. So that's that. But let's get back to the contract, and then we will wrap that up, because that's a whole nother discussion about that. Yeah, I won't get into that too much. But anyway, with this contract, it's pretty similar to the other contracts that I've already talked about. So it's important that you detail the list of detail the services you will provide. That's what's very important. Detail your services, detail your services, detail, detail, detail. Don't leave nothing out. Think, now if it's more general and it's an okay thing, then that's one thing. But I say be very detailed. Try to be as detailed as possible about every single thing that you're going to do so that there is no misunderstanding as to what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Okay. So being detailed avoids any type of confusion or misunderstanding. You're also going to state when and where the services are going to be performed. So if you're like, I will perform these remotely, from my own computer at my own time, or however you want to phrase that, I suggest you strongly do that, because that again eliminates any confusion and nobody can try to say, oh, you didn't do this, or if it's, I will perform these services on site, but at the time of my choosing, or or you can just say so many hours a week, and that doesn't bind you to any time either. You can say, I'm going to perform the services on site, and I'm going to do 10 hours a week. Well, that means that whenever they're open within that week, you are dedicating yourself to provide 10 hours of services. So that's something very important that you want to put in there. Um, you want to also, like I said, put in your contract your set fees and how you will be paid. Meaning, if there's a deposit, most of the time when you're a contractor, you're always going to get money up front. You're going to get either a deposit up front before you do any work. And your fee, it might be small, or it might be half, might be 50% before you even touch the project or touch whatever it is. And that's just a general thing. So if you're not able to request any money up front before you perform the service, you might be really considered a W-2. And that's what I want you to think about when you're a musician or a singer. If you can't request a deposit for your services, then you're more than likely an employee. And if it's not an open, like if it's not like a set time frame, and I need to make that clear. There should be a set time frame that you're performing the services. So if you are going into a ministry, to a church or whatever, and they're asking you to be the musician, or do be a singer or whatever, and you are supposed to get treated as an independent contractor or a 1099 employee or whatever, then there should be an end time. It shouldn't be open ended. Open ended means I'm an employee. I mean, let's just keep it real. There should be like, okay, we're gonna only need you for 3 months, okay, and or whatever. So yes, like 3 months. Now, I mean, that still could be considered a part-time employee. So that's still you skating on thin ice there. But there should be a time frame. It can't be, well, we'll see how things. No, I'm either an employee or not. So there should be a time frame. There should always be a time frame set. So whether it's 30 days, 45 days, a 3-month project, 6-month project, there should be always a time frame when you are an independent contractor. And then in the contract, it should be a remedy for unsatisfactory services. So if your services are considered unsatisfactory to the organization, y'all talk it out, and then you should be able to come up with a solution. So in your contract, it should show what the solution is that you would provide if they aren't satisfied, whether it's a redo of services, a discount where maybe you refund partial, or a full refund. It's up to you, whatever you want to put in there. But it should be a language that says, hey, before we go down the road of monies needing to be readjusted, let's have in writing what the problem is and giving an opportunity to correct the issue. So that's something else that protects you as the contractor, as the independent contractor, as the one that's providing the service, to say, hey, let's first remedy it this way. Let's build something in place that allows us to um, you know, email, communicate something so that I can actually fix whatever it is that you're unsatisfied with. And then if it just can't work, then at that point we talk about refunds, partial, or whatever the case may be. Okay. So I believe that was it for this session when it comes to what I wanted to talk about concerning contracts. Okay, so we covered speaker contracts, um, two different kinds. No, I'm sorry, we first covered speaker, the inquiry form or the engagement form. Then we covered speaker contracts, the two different kinds, like I said, keynote speakers, and then the ones where it's workshops or seminars. So I hope that so far this information has been very helpful and useful. So now, here's my plug. Of course, I am a transformational life and business coach. And if you feel like you would like my coaching services, please go to my website, which is GTTR with Tracy Palmer.com, and you can get on my business. It's called the One Page Business Plan Coaching, because that's what I specifically coach in, helping you to put together a one-page business plan. But I'm also wanted to do something special for those who have tuned in or those who are going to catch the replay or whatever. I want to offer you the ability to access my forms that I have talked to you about tonight. So I want to give you the ability to get the download of my PDF forms of the speaker engagement form, the speaker contract, the both the keynote and the one that's for if you're doing a workshop or seminar. And I also want to give you access to the form that of the client agreement. It already has. I've researched different forms. I try to make them simple. I don't try to build it with a whole lot of language that's not understood. I try to put enough language that protects both the client or both the host and the speaker and or contractor. So my forms are one page generally, and they're very simple. So if you are interested in receiving any of these forms, I am offering all four forms in the PDF format for only 20 bucks total. You can get all four for 20 bucks. If you're interested, all you have to do is inbox me or DM me, and I will, with your email address, and then I will send you out, or either get you the link so you can know where to go, pay and access the forms, or whatever the case may be. Give me about 24 hours or so to get that together. But yeah, if you catch this, whether you get it tonight or when you catch the replay or hear it on the podcast, whatever way that you access this information, if you are interested and you would like all four forms that I talked to you about tonight, you can get them for $20. Now, let's say that you're like, I don't need all of those. Maybe I only need one or two. Individually, they're $7. So any one that you may want that just one form or not, it'll be $7. So yeah, I was like, I talked about it and all the key components, but sometimes we just want a template, and it's just easy. And like I said, I've researched over the years several different types of forms, and I put these forms together based off of my research. Now, you can definitely go online and find a form or whatnot, but I've already done the work to simplify the forms. I think, and I'll just make it very clear, my forms they're not complicated. I don't believe in all that. So yeah, I want to offer that to you guys, and I hope that this is something that you would want and something that you will desire. I want to be a blessing to you. That's why I'm only saying 20 bucks. It's only 20 bucks. And it's something you will be able to use over and over and over again. I mean, you get all four forms. You'll be able to set up your jot form with all the questions you need to ask. You'll be able to set up your speaker agreement. You'll be able to set up both, either one, if you're going to do workshops, seminars, or just a keynote, whether you're a host provider or not, or you're just a speaker. And you'll be able to, if you're one that provides services, you'll be able to set up your client agreement. So yeah. So I don't see, I want to still give, I mean, we're about wrapping up because I only try to do this for an hour. So if there are any questions, if there are anything, I'm going to give like about a minute. And I don't see anything, no one's typed up anything. So I'm going to assume that my information, whatever I've given you, was plenty. You don't have any questions. But let's say that, as you're going through this, as you maybe catch the replay. Maybe you have a question later. Please feel free to reach out to me, contact me again. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and put my information in the chat, uh, where you can reach me through my webpage. So there you go. You can definitely, it should be in the chat now. There we go. So now you should have that information in the chat. So that's how you can reach me through my webpage. And or like I said, you can inbox me and or DM me, whatever, and I or message me and I will definitely reach back out to you. All right. So if there aren't any questions or any concerns at this time, then we will close out on for the this episode of Entrepreneur Talk. Thank you all for being patient and joining in with me. I truly appreciate you all. You guys are amazing and awesome. Your support has been overwhelming. I mean, the shares and the likes and the comments and the feedback I've gotten, I really, really, really do appreciate it. I'm glad you're getting something from these episodes. On the Be ready to tune in for the fourth Monday. We will have a special guest, so be on the lookout for the advertisement for that. That's going to be more of an encouragement show. We're going to encourage you as entrepreneurs. We're going to give you a little bit more, encouragement, and just so that you can just continue on your journey and not get discouraged, and do whatever it is you need to do. So yeah, we don't always want to just give business tips. We also want to give encouragement, because we know that this journey can be tedious, it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful at times. Sometimes you just feel like you just can't make it, you want to give up, you feel like, what am I doing? So yeah, we want to also give you encouragement and speak to other entrepreneurs who are being right where you are. They know exactly where you are. They feel your pain. So we don't want you to think you're in this alone. But my job by doing these shows, and I can't guarantee how long these shows are going to go. They're going to go as long as I have information to provide. But my whole job in doing these shows is to make sure that you are becoming the best version of who you need to be, especially in your business, in your ministry, whatever it is that you feel that you're called to do. I say my motto is your success is my commitment. And that's what I'm committed to do. I'm committed to see you successful. So I pray and I hope that you are getting something from these sessions. And I will not prolong the time. So thank you again for listening, for watching. And until next time, thank you for checking out Entrepreneur Talk with Tracy Palmer. And I will see you next time. Be blessed.